Hey guys, I'm here today to react to BTS Jungkook's song called Shicha, or My Time, I guess, or I thought it meant time difference, but I guess it could be my time as in like his own kind of time, you know? Anyway, I am very excited to hear this. I'm sure it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. So he vocally lately has been like popping off, like the amount of growth in every way that he's gone through these past few years, mind-blowing. Oh my god, I remember the 19-year-old I started standing a few years ago, like, to see, crazy. Like, I'm the age now that he was when I first got into BTS, roughly, so that's crazy. Anyway, let's go. Seems like it's gonna be soothing, but maybe a bit upbeat too. Huh. Yeah! Yeah, we all agree. Oh my god. I can't imagine what and somebody's tomorrow. I'll bet. Finna find my time. Why is he like this? I won't touch it, okay. There is so much I have to say about this one. Okay, I had to take a quick break to get the footage off my card to have space to keep talking. But yeah, okay, we're gonna talk through this song a little bit because there's a lot I feel like to say about this, and like even in some ways I slightly relate to this in a very different way from him, but like we're gonna talk about it because that's what I'm here to do, to share. So let's see. Feels like I became a grown up faster than anybody else. That right there, yeah, like we all talk about how quickly he's grown. Like I literally, right before this song started, I said that, and this is like the first line. Like, come on. But yeah, he really has grown up so fast, and the kind of life he lives in the spotlight, I can't imagine. Like he said, my life has been a movie all the time, you know, because like really, like it's just been endless, like I guess like growth and success, but like in such like a surreal way, you know, like I feel like it's probably hard for him to believe that his life is real, you know, when you're on top of the world like that. I feel like it's really easy to lose a sense of yourself because it just feels like you're this image and like you're living this idol's life, but like who are you on the inside, you know? I feel like that must be tough. Like he really is growing so quickly, and like the one idol I always think back to when it comes to like, hold up, we'll get there, hold up, let's go through the lyrics, we'll get to that. Ran towards where the sun rises every single night. It's like I've been somebody's tomorrow. That's so interesting. Like he feels almost like ahead of everything else in an interesting way. We found the whole world too big. And like the mic is what keeps it kind of going. That's so interesting. This is so interesting. Friends riding the subway. I'll be in the airplane mode. Because like he's going so much faster. Like I imagine like the people and his like outside of BTS, because obviously BTS, like they're all older than him first of all, so there's the age gap a little bit there. Not always a little bit, some of them like a little more significant. But so yeah, first of all there's that age gap, right? And then I'm sure like at like the age he was at, like he started off as a teenager, you know, like they knew him in middle school, and like when he graduated high school, all that, you know, he was like still essentially a kid. And I'm sure that's like a different experience. And like I'd imagine all the people in his personal life, like before meeting BTS, like all his friends from like school and stuff, and you know, who he knew beforehand, like I'm sure his life feels so just separated from them, you know? Like he's in his own kind of, like I feel like that's the whole point of the song, like the whole time difference idea, that like he's living in his own kind of time, and like I think he's like coming to terms with that and being like I'll figure out what my own timeline is, like I shouldn't compare to other people. And like I relate to this a lot right now, but again, we'll get there in time. Okay. But was it too fast? There's traces of flosses. Don't know what to do with. This is the part that I really wanted to talk about. Because like every time I think about that, like, you know, when I feel like idols are getting into this industry younger and younger nowadays, like middle schoolers, maybe even elementary school kids sometimes like start training, and they're there for years, you know, working at this. And it always reminds me, the one that like always stands out, like an idol who's actually talked about this, was Bam Bam from GOT7. A few years ago, I remember specifically this video where he was like very upset at the fact that like he can't go out and do normal teenage things. I don't remember the exact like examples he used, but probably something like going out to the mall with friends or something so simple, you know, and just like going to hang out. Like he can't, or back then, like at the time, he couldn't do those things because of like the kind of lifestyle he lived. Not only was he famous, but like constantly busy with like this career and like this image and everything. And like you can't just ordinarily go out because, you know, people recognize you and you have like other responsibilities, and there's just so much to deal with. So like teenagers who grow up in this kind of environment, they don't get that opportunity to be teenagers, you know, like everyone else. Like they're on their own completely different timeline, kind of like what he's talking about in the song, right? And ooh, it's just like my heart hurts for them a little bit for that. It's like, not that there's like a way you're supposed to live, but like I feel like those teenage years are kind of significant to like discovering yourself and like, you know, experiencing things. And like, I mean, they're definitely doing a lot of that, like traveling the world and like performing. Like that's amazing. Like they have so much going for them, and like of course they're, you know, lucky for like what they have, but at the same time there's so much that's being given up. Like he says here, you know, like it was too fast, there's traces of losses, like it just kind of flew by, and I feel like he didn't get to really feel like he was living it, you know? And that's a little bit sad. Like of course there's like the amazing parts of it, but there's also going to be like the dark, and like I feel like that's the recurring theme in a lot of BTS's lyrics, is this whole idea of like it's not all glory, like it's not all that it seems to be. I think we've definitely been finding that out more and more about the K-pop industry. Like yeah, BTS isn't really like the standard story. Like they've done a little more of like their own paving, I guess. Well, no, that's not really the right way to put it. It's like all groups have worked super hard for what they have. So like BTS, like they write a lot of their own music, and they kind of like took a bit of like a non-traditional path with what they do. Like they talk about like deep things. Like I feel like they've like strayed from like the classic factory type idea of like the K-pop industry as like it's being discovered, you know? And my battery's about to run out. It's like flashing red at me. So there's so much I want to say though. Hopefully it won't cut me off. But yeah, it's just crazy that they have that taken away from them, because like you have one life, you know, like those few years don't come back. But at the same time, like there's no standard for how you have to live them, you know? So it's just interesting. But okay, am I living this right? See, that's like, it's an interesting, why am I the only one in different time and space? Like I get that, because like I'm experiencing this in my own life too. Of course, not nearly in the way he is. But for me personally, I like to tell you guys how I connect their songs to my personal life, because I know it's different for everyone, and, you know, I'd like to talk about these things more, and, like, what their music actually means to me, and how, like, it affects me, and how I interpret it to myself. So, literally just last night, I was, like, having this discussion with my mom a little bit, and, like, I was just thinking about it myself, how, like, that was more just me, like, ranting at her, but, about how, like, so, as I said, I'm 19. This year I'm going to be turning 20, but still 19 as of right now. And I am a junior in college because I'm, like, really rushing through this whole college thing. Like, I'm getting in and out of there, you know? 2.5 years is, like, my goal. So, like, next year I'm graduating, pretty much. So I have 1 year of college left. And I'm 19 years old, so I'll be graduating at the age of 20. And a lot of my friends now are in their 20s, like the majority of my friends. Like I have a few who are about my age or a little bit younger if they're freshmen, but like my older friends, like I know a lot of people, like hang out with a lot of people in their 20s now, and like it's become like a normal thing for me. And see, the problem with that is like it's not a problem obviously, because like it feels like we're on like roughly the same playing field. We're all in college, you know, whatever, even though like a lot of them are going to be graduating this year. Like, I'm only a year behind that, you know? But the thing is, like, I'm 19 and they're in their 20s, you know? And I feel like I keep comparing my life and, like, my experiences with theirs, and I feel like I've done so much less than them. And, like, I have to constantly remind myself that, like, they've got a couple years on me at least, you know? And I shouldn't keep comparing, like my timeline is different from theirs, and just because like in school I might be roughly in the same place as them, that doesn't mean that in my life I've had the same amount of time to like figure myself out and to grow and to, you know, like it's not just about where you are in life, it's about like the years you've had to self-reflect and like try new things and like all that type of stuff, you know? So like that's something I have to keep trying to remind myself, like don't compare your life to people not living the same timeline as you, you know, because like everyone's is going to be different. Like, so I feel like he's having these similar struggles, you know, like finding his own timeline. And it's crazy that like, oh my god, I keep thinking my battery's dying. Like, it's just crazy to me that despite how insanely different our lives are, like me and Jungkook, for example, right? I relate so much to this song in a very different way, but I do, you know, like I get what he's saying, and yeah, like that's so incredible to me. Like we're all just human at the end of the day, you know. Like our literally like my life and his couldn't possibly be more different in every aspect possible, but you know, like I get it. I get his words and I get what he's getting at in a different way than him, I'm sure. Like, I don't know the exact things he's felt and he wouldn't know exactly how I felt, but like, that's the power of all this, you know? Like, the fact, especially that, like, BTS, they share, they really put their souls into things and like, they tell us how they feel and they make us feel human and connected in such like a beautiful way. And yeah, I will forever treasure that about them. It's amazing. It must be so hard to like put yourself out there like that in front of literally millions of people, but I think that's why people love them so much, because like we get it, you know, like we understand them to an extent. Right? And like that connection is just really there, like person to person. They really, yeah, I don't want to use the term capitalize on that because like that makes it seem way too like, you know, monetary, which like of course they're under a company, like that plays a role, but like it really feels like they care, and I've always really appreciated that about them. So yeah, there's my little tangent story. I know it doesn't like directly relate to what we're talking about, but you know, I like sharing my own interpretations and like how their music affects me personally. And if you guys want to discuss yours, I'm always like all ears and like happy to read and listen and talk to you guys about this, because I think that's an incredible part of YouTube where I can sit here and talk to you about this. Like I really appreciate being able to connect with people about this and like talk to other armies and, you know, about this and how I'm affected by it. Like it's just so nice to be heard about it and to be able to talk about it. So, okay, shall we scroll through a little bit? I love that he's also saying kind of like he'll stick with it, you know, like he's almost saying like he's here for us in the way like we're here for him, that type of thing. Can I someday find my time? I finna find my time. Yeah, that's the challenge. I'm sure he'll do it. I'm sure he will. Nothing lasts forever, you know. Things will settle out and change and new things will arise, but I think he'll figure it out. And I'm hoping I do too. Let's see. But he walked too fast. Oh my god, yeah. Things are happening so quickly. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm a little kid growing up not knowing it. That's how I feel too. Like I get so much of this, you know. Well, like especially for him, like he had to grow up fast. Like going back to what we were saying, you know, like he didn't have that classic teenage kind of life, but I think he had really good people around him to help him grow up in his own way, in his own time, and I think he's gonna be okay. I really do. I feel like I'm roaming over, don't know what to do with. Yeah, oh my god. The way I understand this exact feeling, that's how I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of floating by here and trying to do something, and it feels like I grew up way too fast. Like it's crazy. Like I just had this thought today. I realized like all these idols, like literally they're like around my age now. I feel like I keep saying this, but like even the ones who are older, like I used to think like, oh, like they're completely on another, you know, they're adults, they're on like another level, you know, like I'm still a kid, whatever. Okay, my camera cut me off because my battery died finally, but we're gonna just like finish going through the lyrics a little bit here and then I'll wrap up because I've been talking so much more than I expected. Oh my god, like for all these songs I thought like I could get through more reactions, but like I have a lot to say apparently. Guess I should have seen that one coming. I never shut up, but let's go. Okay, let's see, back to the serious. Right, okay, so he's saying, it feels like I'm roaming over, don't know what to do without, like, I really feel that one. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, just kind of trying to take it day by day and, like, not worry too much about the bigger picture, but I always worry about the bigger picture, because, like, that's who I am. But, so be it for that. Did I even start? No, I didn't even start my screen recording. Big rip. Hold up. Let me put that back up on the screen. Are you ready? Start. Okay. There we go. Now we're set. But yeah, okay. Let's keep going through the... See, that's, yeah, the real question. I wonder the same thing. I wonder, like, what specifically he's talking about here. I can't call you, I can't touch you. Like, who's this aimed at, I wonder? Yeah, he'll be okay. Indeed. He will find his time, I believe it. I don't know where I'd go. Yeah. I feel like most people don't know where they're going, but that's okay. It all comes together eventually. 1 time for the present, 2 times for the past. Happy we met each other. Now to the very end. I feel like this is definitely about armies, you know? Like, meeting all this support, and like, it's a huge part of what he does, you know? Having a fan base is the reason that, like, he can have the kind of success he does. And yeah, it's just a lot to process. I will call you, I will hold you. See, like, so he's saying, like, he's kind of taking it back from can't to will. So, like, I feel like the whole song is, like, him being like, I will get through this, like, I will figure it out, I will do the things that, like, I maybe didn't always believe I can do. It seems like a very kind of self-empowering song where he knows that it'll kind of come together, you know? But, like, I really wonder, like, what this means. Like, I'll call you, I'll hold you. Like, who's he talking about? Like, what's he talking about? Like, is it armies? But, like, I feel like that's a little too literal. Like, I don't know what he means by that. Like, I'll touch you, like, touching our hearts. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, the wording is kind of interesting there, but, like, a little bit confusing. So let me know what you guys think. But I was trying to, like, figure out, you know, like, I'll touch you. I guess that means, like, probably in, like, a metaphorical sense. Like, he'll touch our hearts and, like, call out to us, that type of thing, I feel like. Huh. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Okay. That's all right. Yeah. All right. We've gone through the song. I think I said what I intended to say. I'm pretty sure, like, I was starting to go off on something else, like some other tangent, before the battery cut out, and I forgot what it was, but, like, I'm sure if there was something missing, I'll put it in text. Otherwise, it was all I wanted to say. But yeah, alrighty. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like, you can follow me on Instagram at Alice on the Internet, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.